Thank you. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I'm Dr. Aisha Farooq, and I'm presenting here Department of Neurosurgery, Liaquat University Hospital, Hyderabad and Jamshoro. So the topic I would be talking about today is comparative study in surgical outcomes of otogenic brain abscess secondary to chronic suppurative otitis media. As we all know that a chronic suppurative otitis media is a persistent, insidious, and potentially dangerous and sometimes even a life-threatening complication, and because of its various fatal extracranial as well as intracranial complications. It is also one of the most significant and dangerous intracranial complications of CSOM. It can occur at any side of the brain, but the most common sites are the temporal lobe and the posterior fossa. It is also characterized by a collection of pus surrounded by a well-vascularized capsule. And despite the advent of modern imaging facilities, neurosurgical techniques, and new antibiotics, brain abscess still remains a potentially fatal CNS infection. It is the second most intracranial complication of CSOM after meningitis, but it is the most lethal with mortality ranging from 7 to 60%. So a number of studies show that otogenic causes constitute 25% of the abscesses in children, whereas in adults, they constitute 50% of the causes. Studies also show that mortality rate is about 7 to 60%, while 68% to 94% have good recovery and outcome. So the objective is to compare the functional outcomes of otogenic brain abscess after the surgery at posterior fossa and temporal lobe following chronic suppurative otitis media. This was a comparative study which was conducted from January 2019 till March 2020 at Department of Neurosurgery, Liaquat University Hospital, Hyderabad and Jamshoro. So total 30 patients were included in this study, and they had a history of ear discharge with initial CT scan brain contrast showing a ring-enhancing lesion at temporal lobe and posterior fossa. These are the CT scans of a patient which saw a hypodense lesion in the left temporal region, and the other scan shows a ring-enhancing lesion in the temporal lobe. So these are also the similar CT scans. So coming towards the results, majority of the patients were of posterior temporal lobe region abscess. There were 18 out of 30, and 12 patients had posterior fossa abscess. The age range was between 8 to 60 years, but the mean age was 16 to 35 years and female dominated in all age groups. Coming towards the symptoms, most of the patients presented with ear discharge, then headache, fever, seizures, and vomiting being the least of the symptoms. Out of the 12 patients of temporal lobe abscess, 10 had a GCS of between 14 to 15, while 2 of them had a GCS of 9 to 13. And out of 18 patients of posterior fossa abscess, 15 had a GCS of 14 to 15, while 3 had a GCS of 9 to 13. Coming towards the features of both abscesses, GCS was the same in both temporal lobe and posterior fossa abscesses. Ear discharge was also present in both of them. Headache was mild to moderate in the temporal lobe abscess and moderate to severe in the posterior fossa abscess. Seizures were presented in the temporal lobe, but not in posterior fossa abscess. The duration of symptoms and toxicity was present and prolonged in the temporal lobe abscess, but it was absent, the seizures were absent, and duration of the symptoms was short in the posterior fossa abscess. The intensity, recovery, and the hospital stay was mild to moderate. Recovery was early, and hospital stay was short in the temporal lobe abscess. And posterior fossa abscess patients presented with moderate to severe intensity, late recovery, and long hospital stay. So this is a CT scan of a 20-year-old male patient who presented to us with a history of left ear discharge, headache, and fits, and the GCS at the presentation was 14 by 15. These are the intraoperative findings. These are the postoperative findings. immediate post-operative video of this patient. This is a post-op CT scan. Both comparison of preoperative and post-operative CT. In all the patients, complete excision with capsulectomy was done. 29 patients, that is 96.6%, had good recovery and outcome with no postoperative neurological deficit. One patient of the posterior fossa abscess expired before we could get a postoperative scan. So the conclusion was that a complete excision with capsulectomy is the ultimate mode of treatment. Temporal lobe abscess has a good and early recovery as compared to posterior fossa abscess. And posterior fossa abscess is more toxic than temporal lobe abscess. Thank you from the team of Liaquat University Hospital.